sunshine and the rain, through the gladness, through the pain. No matter the challenge, my Lord, He reigns.
San Antonio global listeners, once again, we're back. We're still here in San Antonio, Texas. Oh, but we have a gentleman. We're talking about none other than Dr. R.L. Westbrook. Yes, he's from Atlanta, Georgia. He's also with Dreamer Records, inspirational gospel company that's right here in the city of San Antonio. I'd like to welcome you, Mr. Westbrook.
Thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
Mr. Westbrook, you a man of purpose. Tell us about it. How did you get in touch with Dreamer Records?
Well, actually, it was kind of happenstance. Actually, one day I was just kind of riding along down the street, and I was thinking to myself, I said, I like to do a lot of things. I like to sing. I like to write a number of things. But I just didn't have a mechanism or a venue, if you will, that I could put all those things together. Something that's going to give me ability to not only hone what I know, but also to help me to get my message out to the public. And then that's when I ran into Mr. Stephen Williams. I also did a email search to confirm that was the actual person I was talking to. Once we got together and he shared some things with me, especially with his walk with Christ, I realized then that this is the man I need to be dealing with, because like I said, I've dealt with a lot of different people, but this was a person who was genuine. And so I said, well, I think I'll go ahead and put my eggs in this basket and see where it takes me. And so far, it's taken me to levels that are unbelievable.
Well, talking about putting your eggs in a basket, you have quite a bit of experience. And I couldn't believe it when I saw that you were in the choir in the military.
I was over a couple of times when I went to Saudi Arabia. I was in the choir and singing different types of gospel songs. It's really interesting when you're out in the middle of the desert and every day it's over 130 degrees. You can't wait to get into that church tent. I mean, and then you think to yourself, well, you know what, man, we're not too far away from the Holy Land. So you really get an experience as to what those people went through during those times. And we were in a situation where we actually had to continue to wear our full uniform because of the ultraviolet radiation, or it was so bad it was causing sporadic sunburns and even causing cancer in a lot of people. So we had to endure all of that. But through all that, we had a great time. And I remember our choir director was also the chief cook at the mess hall. So after we get done singing, we go over there and have us a luau.
Yes, sir. Now, with all of that, singing the gospel, but even you had an experience to sing, to be background with Chaka Khan.
Yeah, that was really amazing. It was right before I went to Desert Storm, and a friend of mine named Tracy Johnson, he and I were sharing the same babysitter. So one evening I was down there picking up my son. My son at that time was like 2 years old. So Tracy, I look outside and I see this white limousine pull up in front of the building. I'm like, wow, what's going on here? So then I see Tracy get out the car and he walks up there and I'm getting ready to leave. And he goes, hey man, how you doing? I'm like, all right. He said, I got somebody I want you to meet. And I'm like, okay. So I walk over to the car, the window comes down, and all I could see at first was just bright red lips, And then this British accent, hello, I'm Shaka Khan, how are you? I'm like, for real, man? He said, yeah, man, I'm going to go up and sing background up here at the concert up in Frankfurt, man, tonight. Why don't you ask your wife, can you go up there and join us? Shaka said, you can join us. I'm like, she said, oh, yes. She said, you can even bring your wife if you want to. I said, I don't think my wife would want to come with Shaka Khan. Anyway, I found a way to go and do it. And it was an experience.
Okay. Oh yes, yes, she is something else. Now, so now you're in San Antonio singing with Dreamer
Well,
Records.
yeah,
Now, you not only do you sing with Dreamer Records, but you also uh, in one of the leading playing in a leading role.
yeah. I'm the project manager, and what I do, to be honest, is to go out and I pursue different types of new talent, and it, they may be in that R&B area, if you will, but you know, I talk to different people, give out cards, and I explain to them that, hey, once you get this experience, then the sky's the limit. But going in, you got to focus on the fact that this is a Christian oriented situation, and secular things you might want to leave them on the back burner. Uh, I'm just being honest with them, so that way they can make an adult decision as to whether they want to do it or not.
Right, because Mr. Williams, he is picky about who sings with him. You
Yeah,
can't play shuck
you,
and jive. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
you can't serve two you can't serve two masters. I mean, it's just realistic. I mean, and I've had a couple of people that wanted to go over, but then they bailed out because, well, I'm not ready to do that type of stuff yet. Well, okay, I guess we all have to have a call, and when you're ready,
Give me a call. Now, as you look at 2025, what does 2025 look like for you?
well, I'm working on a couple of songs here now, and I figure they're going to come to a conclusion, if you will, around that time. Uh, I'm also trying to put some things together for my folks back home in Atlanta. Uh, Most of my people back home are Christian based, and the few things that I have shared with them, they've enjoyed it immensely, and they said you just need to do more. Because especially my oldest sister, she's telling me, she said, yeah, she remembers when my daddy used to walk through the house in the middle of the night just singing gospel songs. He knew he knew he was asleep, but he's just singing at the top of his voice. And I'm laying there in the bed, and I'm like, there's one thing about that dude, he sure can't sing. You know, I'm sure he's up there singing right now, and I'm very sure that if he could see what I'm doing right now, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
Oh yes, yes, yes. One thing about fathers and mothers that are in the Lord, when they know in whom has brought them over throughout the years, they don't hold anything back. They just let it all out. You
Yeah,
know.
well, I'm from a family of 11, and I've always believed that we had to have a spiritual life because things weren't all that easy all the time. And just to share this with you right quick, before my daddy really started making the money that he should make, because my mama didn't work, he said, your job is to raise these kids. I remember sometimes in the wintertime, we didn't have enough blankets. So my mom said, okay. So she'd go through the house and start picking up coats, and she just throw coats on top of us. I sit and think about it sometimes, and I say, you know what? That was some of the best warmth I ever felt because it came from love. And it's like food and everything else. When it comes from love, you can't top it.
That's right. I do agree. I do agree. Now, share with us some of the songs. How did you come? You write songs.
Right.
Okay. How did you come? How did that itch come for you to start writing songs?
Well, sometimes, in my quiet time, and as I shared with a friend of mine today, I said, man, I pray about 3 or 4 times a day. I said, but it's amazing that when in your quiet time, God does talk to you. And sometimes he talks to me in song. And then I start seeing songs and hearing it and the syncopation of it and how it matches up to different Bible verses. So I try to get the scripture involved with the actual song itself. Then I can cultivate the chorus and all those things. And then all of a sudden I got this song going on in my mind. And sometimes when I get into that mode, these phones are wonderful. I'll just take my phone out, put it on record, and then I'll just start singing the tune or humming the tune. And then I'll start finding words to match the tune. And then I'll call Mr. Williams.
Okay. Now, there are some record companies, and I've been told by a few friends of mine that they want them to stop lifting up the name Jesus. Do you agree with that, or do you mention Jesus in the songs that you sing?
Yeah, I mention Jesus in the songs I sing all the time. I mean, let's face it. You know what? I don't want to. Jesus put it aptly when he said, "If you love the world, you can't love me." I'm not falling into this type of stuff. You know, if I'm a spiritual person, then I have to convey my beliefs. And if Jesus is a part of my beliefs, why would I candy coat that? Now, of course, you're going to have venues that frown upon that. Well, those are the venues that we should not be involved in. There's a lot of people out here, both in the United States and internationally, that accept the fact that when we're singing about Jesus, we're singing about Jesus. And that's what they want to hear. So, yeah, I'm not going to change just because the world says change. Again, I go back and say it. If you love the world, you can't love me.
Yeah, I'm reminded of an old friend of mine by the name of Leon Patello. And he was faced with that situation where that the record company told him that you need to stop lifting up the name Jesus with the company or we can't use you. And he looked at him and said, do you see all of these gold and platinum albums on your wall? He said, that's because I lift up the name Jesus. And he ended up leaving. And to this very day, he is traveling all over the world still.
Wow.
And he's living a successful life. And he's still lifting up the name Jesus.
So you see, again, you cannot. It's fascinating. You know, I sit and I look at some of these guys that are extremely successful. I mean, from Elon Musk to Snoop Dogg or whoever these guys are, and I look at how they came to that effect. And then I say to myself, let's not get this twisted. God is in this. And they might not even mention him. Okay? And it's a sad thing because a lot of folks that reach that plateau, they never talk about God or Jesus until they get in trouble.
Right.
You know, I understand that you go to the doctor when you're sick, but why wait to go to the doctor? You know, why wait? That's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm putting some logic out there that might be a bit skewed, but like I said, I see a lot of successful people out here, but I don't see them giving thanks.
You know, in all things, we should give thanks. And as I shared to so many people that why wait till you get sick? Why don't you call on them before then?
Exactly.
Why don't you speak the word? Why don't you meditate on the word? Because the word can bring about healing in your body.
It's Christmas every day. It really is. It's Christmas every day. It really is.
Yes. And like the old song that we used to sing, oh, what a joy. Well, the Whiting sung that. Oh, what joy that breaketh within my soul. You know, not only do you sing, but you've been in plays here in San Antonio.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in a few stage plays. One of the ones that sticks out of my mind is this one that was called All Is Fair in Love. It was based on a Stevie Wonder song. And it was about this family. I played the patriarch of the family. I played the barber who's ran a barber company. And I had told my daughter, stop letting her little son play with plastic guns. And she said, oh, well, you just want him not to be strong. No, what? You got to have a gun to be strong. There's other things he could play with. And unfortunately, he was playing with a gun one evening and he was aiming it at this lady and the cops rolled by and thought it was a real gun and they shot him. And so that's what the story was all about. But the moral of the story is that, you know, teach your children the right way when they're little. So when they grow up, they're not going to go away from it. And I truly believe in that. You got to start with them when they're young. Yeah.
Well, the word says, train up a child when they're young.
Yeah.
And then when they grow old, they will not depart.
No, they won't. It's right along the lines with love thy mother and father. And I see a lot of that that's being ignored out here. You know, I was talking to a group of young men the other day and I said, you know what? It's a shame the way that I see you guys disrespecting your elders. You can't do that. These people laid the path for you. You should be thanking them. You know.
I'm reminded of the song that says, "Respect yourself,
Yeah,
but respect one another too."
respect one another, and I feel strongly about that as well, because one of the things that I make a pact with myself for each year, and 2025, I'm making a pact with myself to be more outgoing in respect to bringing unity to. And this might sound a bit biased, but I have to say it. This is how I feel it. Bringing more unity between African American men. I don't think we talk enough. I don't think we fellowship enough. I don't. I don't think we even greet each other enough out on the street. Just a friendly hello. We got to get back to that. We really do, because this world is changing, and at some point, everybody's going to need everybody.
Well, it's one of the things that I've learned in growing up. We as black people, and I'm not going to talk about the white folks or Hispanic folks, but we as black people, many of us don't talk to one another. We talk at.
Exactly.
We assume instead of asking questions. We don't listen, but we're ready to speak. And I feel like that's one of our downfalls. But we know about. You write songs. You're in a good position with Dreamer Records and communicating with the public. You sing, but you also do commercials too.
Yeah, I did a couple of those. One commercial I did, the one that I really enjoy the most is the one that I did with my daughter. And that was years ago when I was working as an environmental scientist for the city of San Antonio. And my daughter was the spokesperson for Project Worth. I don't know do you remember that?
I remember that.
And so we had a couple of little segments on TV where I would tell her, she would say, the one commercial that sticks out of my mind is when she was sitting there doing her homework. She said, "Dad, I'm done with my homework." I said, "Okay, now what you gonna do?" "I want to go to the club, hang out with my girlfriends." And I said, "Baby, let me explain something to you. That club's a building. You go ahead and make your A's and you graduate. That club's gonna still be there when you graduate." I said, "As a matter of fact, once it's there, then you can go and stay 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You know why? Because you took care of business." I said, "Your friends, they need to be careful because they don't have the guidance to stop them. Your friends are going to have babies long before they should." And then it showed the statistics of how many teen pregnancies and stuff like that. And then my daughter looked at the camera. She said, "I'm too young to have a baby. I think I'll do my homework." And it faded out. So those commercials went over. They used to come on right before American Idol.
Okay.
So I enjoyed that. That was fun.
Okay. We used to have a saying at 10 o'clock on when the news came on. "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?"
And you know something? I think I know where San Antonio kind of gleaned that from, because I'm from Atlanta. And I was in Atlanta during the child murders. And they ran that every night at 11 o'clock. It's 11 p.m. "Do you know where your children are?" 27 young black men dead within a span of 2 months.
San Antonio global listeners, we're talking to a man who is well-rounded. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Dr. Ralph Westbrook. He's a man of purpose. He's a man with a vision. He's a man that never looks back, because he knows his future is right before him. Before we leave, Mr. Redwood, would you mind sharing with us your social sites?
Well, I'm on Facebook. Most of the time, I'm using Facebook as a business mechanism, because I'm also an adjunct professor. I try to keep it at that because I don't think that people use Facebook for its intensive purposes. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm also with the National Society of Scholars as a published author. I've got several magazine articles, and you can also find a small book that I wrote on environmental science. and that's also where my dissertation and my project study from the university is. And I see people are basically borrowing a lot of that information as they try to climb the ladders and going into the environmental science field, and that makes me feel good. I also have plans that are archived downtown in the library, where back when I worked for City of San Antonio, all the construction that you see going on, these overpasses, these culverts, these ducts, all these right down to the sidewalks that are being built, we did all that work between the span of 2001 to 2006, and they're finally finishing a lot of it right now. And if you go down those plans, you'll see that my name, I had to sign a lot of those plans. So I think I've helped San Antonio out a bit as far as helping it to grow. And I give that tribute to my father, because if you go to Atlanta, he was a contractor, and he did a lot of the similar work in Atlanta. One house that he used to work on constantly is over on Sunset Boulevard. Now it's the National Archive. It's the house of Dr. King. Okay. And I may be dating myself, but I remember seeing Dr. King one time. When my daddy was redoing the driveway. He used to call my daddy Deke. Okay. And I remember, and I'm a little kid, I'm about 5 years old, but I could hear him saying, you know, Deke, I don't know if I'm gonna make it back. And my dad would laugh and take a long dragon serious. Boy, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. My mama knew Miss Coretta quite well. And when that happened to him, my mama cried every day. It really broke her heart. And I just, like I said, so every time I go home, I make sure I drive up into that area, and I go to the Center of Social Change, and I go over to Herndon Stadium where Morris Brown College is, because I remember when we used to go up there and we could get a band playing back in those days. And I tell everybody, if you get a chance, go to Atlanta and just walk around a little bit, especially downtown. There's a lot of history down there that will just open your eyes. And if you go to the Center for Social Change, it's about 5 blocks. But by the time you come out at the end, you're going to be like, wow, all that happened to us? Yeah, and it's archived. When you get to the end, you'll see Martin Luther King's grave with all the flames around it. And you just stand there and go, wow, man, this is... And then not too far away to about a block to the east, is the church where Daddy King used to preach at. You know, so there's a lot of history right in that little area that used to be Auburn Avenue that they changed to Martin Luther King Drive. So, I encourage people to do that.
There's one place that my wife was talking about she wanted to go to before we were married, that she wanted to go there. And when, do you have any shout outs?
I got a shout out to Mr. Williams. How you doing? And I don't know how vast this radio audience is, but I'd like to send a shout out to my relatives and all the people that are back home, and I'm hoping everything's going well with them. As well as my colleagues and my fellow classmates and students that I went to school with as well. And I hope that everybody's doing fine, you know, and maybe if you haven't heard from me in a long time, you know, I am on social media. Look me up.
Okay. This is how we do it on Rhema Gospel Express. We're reaching, we're teaching, we're experiencing, and most of all, we desire to motivate and encourage the communities all around the globe. Mr. Westbrook, we'd like to say thank you for joining with us, and much success to you as you continue to run this race.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me.
Through the pain, no matter the challenge, my Lord.